All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And after a couple minute delay, I apologize to our loyal followers who are waiting anxiously at 2 o'clock. We're here though. I have a very special guest today on Beyond the Frame. My name is Jay Nephew, by the way, in case you didn't know that. And with me, I am pleased to have Dr. Dean Hinitz, sports psychologist, with me. Dr. Dean, welcome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate being welcomed. It's good to be here.
You are so welcome. Yeah. It's great to have you, first of all. I'm going to pull up the comments on the side here like I always do. And then I have to put my eyes over here for a moment and turn the volume down so I don't hear myself talk. But I do want to see the comments from our loyal followers, because we have a lot of people who like to ask questions of our guests along the way. And we encourage that. So if you're one of those people watching, please say hi. But today, Dr. Dean, I want to introduce you to our world, because I haven't had you as a guest on the show. I don't believe you've been on our venue much. And Beyond the Frame is a channel that we created, and a platform that we created for owner operators of not only just bowling centers, but entertainment venues in general, to come together. We started this at the beginning of the pandemic, in an effort to provide support to these business owners and what they can do. And it's really grown. We have this great little community that loves to share what they're doing when it works and ask for help when it's not working. And being a sports psychologist, your whole entire business model is, I'm here to help, right?
Well, the question would be, what am I here to help do? And go ahead. I don't know if you want to follow that up. Well, let me answer. I'm here to help people win. But to define what a win is, it doesn't always mean this tournament, this outing, this title. A win is like, am I getting better? A win is, am I maxing out? A win is, am I learning how to focus to attend? Am I learning how to love this instead of fear it? And so wins are defined in a lot of ways. If you only define them as, I got that title on that day, then that's not so good, because
it limits yourself, right?
It keeps you from having a phenomenal experience more.
Beautiful, beautiful. Ken Tynan and Doug Brown are watching. They say hola and hello. Hi, guys. If you have any questions for Dr. Dean, write them in the chat and we'll try to get them in the thing. Now, Dr. Dean, you come from an interesting background. First of all, I want to say I read the article that you were interviewed for Bowling Industry Magazine by Robert Sachs, and that's kind of how I came to you. We've known each other for many, many years now. It's odd because I've drifted away from the circles that you're in, and I haven't seen much of you in the past, I don't know, I'm gonna say 5 to 10 years with the Mega Bucks and the Team USA and whatnot. I had a lot of close connections with that group, and they've kind of all gone their own ways. But in the article, you reference how you got involved into bowling and who you were before bowling. Why don't you fill in that background with us? You were a gymnast. That's pretty amazing, right?
Well, I was a gymnast, and I don't know if I think I've gotten over being embarrassed. What got me in, I love gymnastics, and I love to train, and I love to fly, and I love to flip, and I love to balance, and I love to be strong, and I didn't love to compete. And
oh, interesting.
And there were very few times that I felt like I really wrung it out, and it was notable when I did. And when I finally, my gymnastics career ended, I wasn't good enough to be an Olympian or anything like that, but I did compete throughout college, and I competed in the national championships. But it was a study for me to understand why I sometimes performed well and why sometimes, a lot of times, I choked. And I thought, well, part of what I'm going to do in this life is beyond that, and whether it's sports or other aspects of life, to help. What I wanted to do is be involved in people sort of maxing out their possibilities and learning about when and why and where that they sort of froze up or choked up or didn't do the things that they knew that they could do. And so that sort of kicked off. Really, it was one of those doctor heal thyself kinds of things. Like, why am I really sometimes pretty good and sometimes pretty not? And that was kind of the origins of some of this.
Well, that's interesting that you say, why am I sometimes really good and sometimes not? Because I think as a bowler myself, I go through those cycles, on a daily, hourly, yearly basis. I mean, it's a constant spin sometimes. And when the spin happens so fast that you don't know where you are in the cycle, that's another issue. But I think as a business owner, you kind of feel that same way from time to time, unless you're just killing it with very minimal effort, which, I mean, unless you have a casino or maybe, I don't know, some other random industry that's killing it, you don't have those things.
Even casinos go out of business, believe it or not. I'm in,
That's true.
I've seen this. A couple things about this. When we talk about sports psychology or performance in anything, the rules and the principles are flat out, they're the same everywhere. If they're not, they're wrong. It's like gravity's in play everywhere. The rules of being connected, aligned, and delivering your best shot, whether it's gymnastics, whether it's a relationship, whether it's business, whether it's bowling, the principles never vary. And so what I love about it is we can work with bowling, and you should be able to take everything we work on and plug it right into business.
Sure.
And the things that cause people to fail in anything from relationships to casinos to bowling, those rules are also in place.
Yeah. And one of the interesting things we've learned during this pandemic timeframe, one of the reasons we started, Beyond the Frame, was to help people get together. The premise of this article was very interesting to me. You said, I believe it was something along the lines of, it's much like when you are bowling in a competitive event and you find yourself making the same shots over and over with not good results, and you wonder why, but you haven't analyzed the whole entire picture. You haven't done your homework. You're not paying attention to the entire game. You're only concerned with making a shot. And that's part of the equation, but the rest of the equation for bowlers, at least, is, what is the lane doing? How is the oil moving? What is the shot? And you're saying the shot in the business world has changed. You have to move. And that is like genius. So if you're in the bowling industry, you should be able to relate to that pretty easy if you're a bowler. But if you're not a bowler, it's the same thing. Like, you have to pay attention to day-to-day trends, to consumer behavior, to consumer psychology. There's all kinds of things that you don't have to be an expert on, but you certainly need to be aware of. And in the pandemic, we were forced, in many cases, to pay very close attention and to make those changes, sometimes not by our decision, but by other people's decisions. And I think that is where we're at right now, where you're saying, look, the shot has changed, business has changed, and by the way, it has been changing all along, whether you agree with it or not. That's kind of my philosophy. It shouldn't be a surprise that, times have changed, really, because they've been saying that forever, and they're going to continue to say that long after I'm dead.
Let's hope, because if they don't, then we're done.
Sure.
What makes any of this, what makes bowling awesome, what makes anything awesome, is you have this thing like, oh, I want to do something. I have a desire. I want to reach for it. And I want to, whether it's improving, whether it's learning how to stay balanced in alignment, whatever it is, as long as we're reaching, we're loving the thing we do. When we stop reaching, things flatten out and we become bored. It's why people do get bored with a house shot. It's like, I really don't have to reach anymore. I really don't have to have accelerated desires anymore. And we flatten out. We want business to change. When this thing happened, I teach in a lot of different places. I was traveling a lot and giving seminars, and now here we are on Zoom, just like today. And I thought, all right, I never knew how to do this before. This better make me better, or I better get better to do this. Because if I deliver in the same old way I did when I had the luxury of like moving around physically with people, this is going to flatten out. And I better get tighter, and I better get more focused, and I better bring some energy to this that I didn't have to marshal before. Because if I'm who I was, this is going to flatten out. I'm not going to actually like it that much. And I wouldn't expect anyone else to either. This should make you better, Jay, in every way. This should make, and the coaches that I work with, I'm like, we should come out of this better than we went into it.
I feel like, from different portions of my life, relationship, competitor, business acumen, all these different areas, I think they have their compartmentalized, but what you're saying is so true that it applies completely across the board. I may be at different levels with each section, you know, with accepting the change and wanting to learn and grow here, more here, less here. But if you're not always wanting that change and accepting it and saying, how can I be better? Am I getting better? Or am I just going to sit here and do the exact same thing I've done all the time? You're right. You're not going to go anywhere. And pretty soon you're going to find yourself maybe, you know, maybe wishing you weren't bowling or you weren't running this business or you weren't in that relationship. So I think it's valuable to look at what other people are saying and look at how you're being forced to, you meaning us, are being not for maybe forced is the wrong word, but are being pushed into an out of your comfort zone and
Well,
having to
Jay,
understand.
I'm gonna interrupt a little. Forgive me, but it's you and
No,
me.
please.
So we're not being forced to do anything. There's invitations being issued, and you can take them, or you can hunker down and go, no, I know who I was, I know how it was, and I'm going to sit here till it comes back. And you can choose that. It won't work very well, and it's going to be tinged with either some form of anxiety or depression. But the invitation is here. Like, there are possibilities. Do you want to take them? And you know, we are choosers. We're going to create a reality. We're going to be miserable talking about how things used to be or are supposed to be, or we're going to have a way better time if we go, well, what are all the invitations that are possible? And you know, when I'm working with individuals, or if I'm working with teams, I actually have a college team this afternoon, shortly after us. I'm like, do you guys realize the opportunity you have? Everybody else thinks that things are flattened out. If you get on it and we train the way we can train now, you're going to lap everybody else, among other things. And there's some ways to think about this. And before we end, I should probably give some tools for how to do that. But I did interrupt you, so go on.
No. We don't have a formal structure here, in case you haven't figured that out. I like to have a conversation.
I didn't agree to that. I thought there was a formal structure.
There is. The time clock ended, and no. Wow. You know, while you're saying those things to me, I'm processing this as Jay Nephew. Like, I'm trying to be the host here. I'm trying to, you know, think about my next question, but I can't, because you're making me go, oh my God, yes. This is why I'm feeling this way. Oh my God, I am that person sometimes who's like, oh, these are all the choices. I know who I am. I'm gonna sit right here. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. I don't need to do it. And now I'm like, oh crap, I needed to do it. I think I really do need to do it, or I need to at least look at it and see if I can do it. Very valuable, Mr. Dean, very valuable. You know, you've worked with people like Carolyn Durham-Ballard and Kim Terrell-Kearney and Norm Duke. I mean, you've worked with a lot of just talented bowlers in your lifetime. What is one of the things that you are the most proud of? That, maybe you don't have to, you know, give away the person, but give me an example of something that you really got into someone's head and you made the biggest difference for them. And, you know, I'm sure you have something.
I have a couple of favorite things. And I want to qualify this because it's not like a me thing. My job is really, if it's to have people become aware of what's in them, what's possible. People have ceilings. We all do. They're sort of invisible. We don't know that they're there. I never met anybody who didn't have one. And from the bleacher seats, you can sort of see where people limit themselves. And from the inside, it's like, no, this is true. Look at my history. And people's belief systems are based on history. Like, everybody uses all this evidence. These were my results. See, I'm a make the cut person. I never win. I can go this far, not that far. Or I'm good in these situations, or I'm fine in the first frame, but I never, you know, I'm bad in the 10th, or I can, you know, I'm not good in the beginning, but I focus in the 10th. And people, all your listeners, everyone here right now tuning in has a belief system based on their history. Here's how I'm an anchor. I'm not an anchor. I'm leadoff. I'm not a leadoff. I close things out. I don't. I come close, and then bad luck happens. And all this historical stuff. And our belief systems will start to direct so much of our behaviors unconsciously, that to crack those belief systems is essential. Where you want to go is based on future thinking, which is awesome. What you think you are is based on your history, which is sometimes awesome, almost always limited in some way.
Wow.
So what am I proud of when I don't even know if proud of is the word. It's such a privileged journey when you get to what it's like when you're doing this kind of work. It'd be like if somebody's on a boat in the river and they're on their river, their path, their river, they're on their stream, and you're running alongside and going, hey, here's where it looks great. There's where some rocks are. Can you see them? And they start going, oh yeah, I see them. And the rocks are like ways that they think that have been disruptive to them, or ways that they haven't even known that they've folded to being more concerned about what other people think than about whether or not they feel great when they throw a shot. There's all kinds of rocks in people's stream. My job is to jog alongside and go, I see one, I see one, I see one. You see it? And they're like, oh yeah. And once you see it, like you can't really change anything that you're not aware of. You're
Right.
like if somebody's grabbing the ball, and they're grabbing, they're gripping, they're grabbing, they're gripping, until they can feel the difference between, this, it's, I'm squeezing the bird, I'm squeezing a rock. And once you become aware of your grip, you're like, oh, I can play with this thing. But until you're aware of it, you can't.
Right. It's
What-
just a grip for you until you're forced to think differently and say, pay attention to this feel. Isn't this different than this? And you're like, well, okay, yeah. Very good analogy.
So then if you're watching yourself on video, we go, oh, really? I move like that. I chicken wing there, whatever I bumped, I don't post it. We become aware, and then we can start to change it. And my job is to say, okay, I'm not going to probably work a lot with your physical game. Much as I love it, to your first question, how to get into this, bowling offered me so much of what I had as a gymnast that I didn't come into it as a sports psychologist. I came into it to play. I thought, here it is again. I can, balance, timing, lights, grace, motion, dance, all of it that gymnastics offered, with the exception of if you fall, you don't get hurt, typically, unless there's gum in the approach. But so in any event, back to where I was with my conversation, if I help people become aware of this is how you habitually think. Here's your habitual belief patterns. Here's how you're typically focus or lose your focus. Then they can see it and they can choose it. And once we have awareness and choice, now you start to become the master of your ship again. And so when you ask about a couple of favorite moments, and one of the things I have to be cautious about, of course, is people's confidentiality and,
of course. Yeah.
But a couple things are out there, a few things are out there. So I'll tell you some of my favorite moments. One is with Kim Kearney. I used to be Kim Terrell. And think about what this would be like for those of you listening. When she won her first US Open, I think that was 2003. At that time, it was like the biggest prize in women's bowling history, or one of the top two. And so she had a lot of money, and it was a major title, of course, US Open, all this stuff. She hadn't won any of this. In the 10th frame, it gives it almost chills to think of it. She's rolling the ball so sweetly. It was, and when it was done, what she said and what she felt was, I just want to keep bowling. Like, it's over, I want to keep bowling. Think about how awesome that is.
That's amazing.
Most people are exhaling with relief. Oh, I got the title, I got the check,
Right.
I won. She was like, I want to still bowl. What if feeling awesome was the most important thing? So that when you played, you go, I'm going after that feeling. Well, what happens then is you actually do win more, and you win more money and you have more titles, but that's not even the thing you're going after.
Right.
If you're going after, I want to be in, like when I play, I want to be in, and everybody listening knows what it's like to be in. It's when you stand there and you go, this is done. If that's the most important thing, someone could tell you, hey, buddy, it's over. You're like, really? What happened? Well, you crushed the other person. I wasn't even bowling anybody, really? I was just in. And one of my favorite moments was Kim just wanting to keep bowling. Another, some of you will know who Carrie Schwager was. Jay, you must know her.
I know of her. I'm not friends with her, but I know exactly who she is. Absolutely.
Standout collegiate bowler, went to University of Nebraska, came out on tour, did some things. And she was down at the Mini in Vegas, and no woman had ever won a Megabucks tournament. And I wasn't down in Vegas at the time, but she got a hold of me on my phone and said, "Hey, Dr. Dean, I'm about to bowl for 20 grand." And you got to hear this because it could be confusing. Like this is about the money. It wasn't at all. It was about like a kid saying, I'm about to go into a candy store. And her excitement, it wasn't like, oh, how are you going to bowl in front of the lights? And no woman has ever won this. And there's so much pressure in the final of a megabucks. It was like, I'm going to go bowl. And this is really fun. Like, look at this. Like there's a title and there's a prize. And that's what the drama dresses it up. But her contact with me in that moment, it's like, that's when I knew, I think, what I want to say is the work was done at that point.
Sure.
She was already a great bowler. The point wasn't, she was fine. She had plenty of game. And if she was excited to go into the candy store, well, we know. Okay. Right. There's more. I could keep going, but those, I like those.
Well, those are amazing, testaments to what you can do for people with your, you offer individual sessions, team building, group clinics, and tournament prep. That's your business, right? drdeanhinitz.com, drdeanhinitz.com. Look it up and book a session with Dr. Dean. But it's inspiring to be on this end of the conversation and hear that, because you're reminding me to think about my own experiences differently now moving forward. Again, like we forget about, I think I've talked with you about this a few times in the past of my life, but I can't remember what you've told me, right? I shared with you, oh, I'm going to use your tips. Well, the thing is, like business, you need to constantly be aware of your surroundings, aware of your environment, aware of what your intentions are, aware of what your goals are. And in this case, what are you there for? Are you there to make money? Are you there for the experience? And in the business world, if you're there to make the money and you're there to provide a great guest experience, I think you have to look at it a little bit differently. Yes, the end goal in all business is probably to be profitable. I'm saying profitable. There's some business out there, maybe it's not, but and if that's the goal, you can't focus on the dollars. You have to focus on the product that you're selling to people, the experience you're selling them, are you giving them what they come for? The dollars will follow. And the smart business people in COVID times have learned that. They've adapted. They've changed. They said, okay, I run a bowling center or I run an entertainment facility, but I can also do these things. And, we've had glimpses of these kinds of different thinking come along, and I haven't grabbed them and pushed them to the front and talked about them like you have just now for us. So I appreciate you doing that. But before we move on, I want to just say, Kenneth Tyne is on here, says, why do we talk ourselves into failure in clutch moments? How do we not let that mindset enter and stay focused at the task at hand? Well, you heard what Dr. Dean just told you, right? It's not about the moment of talking to yourself there. It's about, what are you there for? You're there for the competition, right?
Let me grab this one for a second.
Please.
A really great question, actually. Could you say the question one more time? It'll focus me.
Why do we talk ourselves into failure in clutch moments? How do we not let that mindset enter and stay focused on the task at hand?
So, boy,
it's two different questions, right?
But let me go at what I think is the most important part of the question. Every situation that happens, think of it like a stick or a continuum where we go, this is really wanted, this is really unwanted. And every single thing that comes up in bowling, we can go, oh, awesome, not awesome. Okay, so if I say you throw a cherry shot, just beautiful, elbow deep right into the pocket, smash it, and you leave an 8-pin, 9-pin. Good
Familiar.
or bad? Good or bad?
Well, the outcome's bad.
Okay, so when I had a conversation with Norm Duke about this, here's where we landed. Norm misses a single pin about once every year or two.
True.
So what he said to me was, Doc, when I leave a single pin on TV, I'm in the show, I'm bowling for a title, I leave a single pin, I leave a corner pin. You know what my thought is right after the shot? And I said, what's that? He goes, yes, I can make these. This end of the stick. Other people are stomping and complaining. When you're interested in what's happening, excited about it, seeing opportunity, possibility, a chance to play, versus the tragedy of it, there isn't one thing in bowling that I could give you. We can go to the cheetah championships and the shots laid out and it's like, oh, this is going to be high scoring. And some people are like, yes, I can strike from like 5 different angles here. And someone else says, I am a really good player and this has just equalized the field and now all my advantages are gone. I can take any situation and say, which one are you going to live in? And then I say, so get this, mastery of your game, flat out. If you want to remember something from the show today, mastery of your game is mastery of focus. That's it. Mastery of anything is mastery of focus. Can I marshal my energy to attend where I wanted to? Think about it like this. There's a great teacher once who used this example. Said, if we see somebody walking down the street and their hands are going like this, or their heads are going like this, or they're, twitching, we go, something's wrong there. Like, I know something's wrong there. Their head's turning involuntarily, their hands twitching. We go, something is wrong there. It's jumping around. This is an easy one. Everyone would agree with it. Yeah, we see that. Something's wrong. We go, but when we see someone's mind doing that, we go, oh, that's just normal in competition. It's like, how is it normal? You can't marshal and focus and hold your mind in one place. That's the same as your hand jumping all around. And when we see it physically, we think that's not right. But when we do it mentally, we go, well, I've been doing that my whole life. That's just the way it is. It's like, no, just like you can control this movement, you actually can run this movement. And we can focus and we can train it. And yeah, we can learn to do
And
this.
all of those same principles apply not only to the bowling, but to the business side of the equation. So
in this pandemic, I've consulted with lots of businesses as diverse as bars and bakeries, not just bowling.
sure.
I'm working in a lot of places. Every one of these things is what works everywhere. And I'll give you just one more piece to this. I don't know how we're doing for time here, Jay.
Whatever you're ready. We have a rule that is like about 15, 20 minutes, and then we have 45-minute shows. So it doesn't matter.
Because we've been in this for a little bit. Everybody talks about be in the present moment, be in the present moment. It sounds like such a great idea. But if you've ever ridden a bicycle or a motorcycle, and I go, okay, you're in the present moment, look right at the asphalt where you are. That is a bad move, okay? Because this moment is already, whatever history has come into it is where we are. And I don't want you to live in history. When you're on a motorcycle, I actually rode one to get to this interview. What you learn is don't stare right here. Don't look down at your wheels. Look at what's coming. Anticipate what's coming. Here's what this is going to feel like. There's a turn coming. Some nice gravel up ahead. There's a place where I can accelerate. And so what we call the present moment is probably more accurately, here's what I'm about to lean into. Not here's my destination 3 turns from here, but I'm already adjusting to what's coming and anticipating it and liking it. And as a bowler, most people's present moment is their present, like they're distressed about what just happened, or they're thinking about, oh, I got the front 9, now what do I do? Whatever it is.
Exactly.
And they don't think about, if this was a motorcycle ride, I'd be anticipating my weight shift and my balance and what's coming. And we look just ahead of the handlebars, and you're going to like that if you practice it.
Wow. And practicing it is something we definitely need to do. But we could go on for another half an hour here easily. And I don't want to take up any more of your time because my mind is actually exploded right now on the inside. Personally, I'm like, oh my God, I needed this so badly. But I'm also taking everything you're saying and thinking about how in so many ways we've been doing this with our customers, with our friends, with our members of our channel. We're helping them look at the future. We're helping them not to stay right here, but to be aware of here, but attend to what's coming, I think is what you're saying. Be aware and be what you attend to and what you're aware of are 2 different things.
Oh yeah. And if we look at business, we got this whole slice of people go, oh, my business, what's happened? We've been shut down here and there. And I'm not unmindful of this. It's been some distressing moments certainly with the people I'm working with. But we have to get into a picture of, okay, here's our circumstances. If you're flying, what would that look like? Just like if you're competing amazingly, what would that look like? If you're competing the way you want, what does this business look like if it's thriving? All these other businesses are whatever they're doing. Well, obviously you need a customer flow, and we need to design a way that can happen. House shot's gone. So now this is going to look different. Now one restaurant that I'm connected with, okay, they're not coming in here and dining, but you are going to serve them at the door. How are they going to be excited to come to your door? Why is your door better than any other door? And you want to do business and you want people coming and you want them to have a good time. Well, they're not sitting inside anymore. So now we're going to do it different. And, my favorite home bowling center where I play, all right, we're not going to pack the lanes anymore. Now, what are you going to do? Okay. People can still be fighting to get in the door. They're just not going to be right next to each other. The lanes 4 and 5, they're not going to both be in play at the same time anymore. Okay.
Unless you're in Texas, which, all bets are off here. Dr. Dean, I want to wrap it up right now. I want to say thank you so much for your time. Rosa says the present moment is what I'm about to lean into. This is a great point of view. Agreed, Rosa, agreed. I'm going to rewind this and play this so many times afterwards, you have no idea. And of course, we get a lot of views after the fact, not just live. But while you're here, I want to just give you another plug, because I think that if you're a struggling business owner and need a little bit of coaching, need some guidance as to how to train your brain to think differently, get yourself to, I forget what you said. I'm not going to try to repeat it because I'll mess it up. But go to drdeanhinitz.com, get in touch with you. Book a session, book a group session, talk about what you can do to help and this business move forward. And then in the meantime, if you're a bowler, oh my God, where have you been? You just need to go. You just need to be a part of it. Dr. Dean, any final words for today for us?
Oh my goodness. Final words. One is thank you, because if you're here, you're digging in for starters. Two, everything matters. And sometimes we have subtle things that we think don't matter. We think it doesn't matter if we just jam our shoes on in irritation and then try to go to play. And you want to catch it early. Am I in the frame of mind that I want to be in? And in the small things, whether you're getting ready to bowl, whether you're unlocking the doors of your business, it's like, am I right now? I wouldn't want you to throw a shot if you weren't right now. Don't turn the key in the door of your business, your company, your store, if you're not right. Start it early. We want to be in. I'll leave it there. I want to thank everybody. We'll call it a day, right?
Yes. Well, thank you. First of all, you provided so much info today. And like I said, I'm gonna have to rewind this again when we're done. Dr. Dean Hinitz, it's been a pleasure. I'm glad to catch up and see you again. I'm not gonna let it be 5-10 years before I see you again. I might have to just rack up the credit card and book a session with you online. On behalf of Cubica, AMF, and Beyond the Frame, my name is Jay Nephew. I thank you for joining us today, Dr. Dean. Wonderful talking with you. And we hope to have, hey, you want to do this again sometime? Maybe a little bit off on a tangent. We'll go on down a different road.
We'll pick a street. We'll go down that one. That'd be great.
Love it. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you soon. All right, take care.
Bye-bye.